Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, sir.
And we've spoken a number of times on this issue over and over again. The opinion that people hold now, and I was speaking to David Ametepe, who also hold that opinion, that once the president has spoken, the discussions on whether or not the Office of Special Prosecutor should be scrapped should all be brought to an end. What do you think?
Well, yes, I'm quite sure that at least those who are related to government and to the political party will take some notice of what the president's position is and potentially align. But you may have others like Noah, who is petitioned the Supreme Court, who are not directly linked and may decide what they want to do. So, yes, I think that by and large, this has helped maybe quieten all the agitations over the matter.
And what do you make? Because he's also gone further to also talk about what was started in Parliament by the majority chief whip, the majority leader. First, what do you make of that move in the first place?
I was quite surprised and disappointed. We've had over 20 years of discussing this. By 2017, when we took that decision, it was because we had done all the comparisons. I mean, the Hansard records of 2017 show very brilliant, detailed arguments that were made. And we decided, listen, historically, our Attorney General has failed to hold politically exposed persons accountable. The data will show you that there's very fine in between in terms of anybody who is being held accountable. Therefore, create a different office for this purpose. Indeed, one of the questions I ask myself is, this Ola Balu about the OSP, is anybody asking in the same period, how many cases has the AG handled? How many cases has EOCO handled? How many cases has CID handled? Why is it that the institution that we have just, as it were, birthed and is still going through institutional building has come under attack by everybody? And even when they have done cases and won them, people say they've done nothing. Okay? They have 71 cases being investigated, 33 cases in court. They have won 7 cases. They have retrieved over $2 million. They have saved over 5.7 billion Ghana cedis. And people are still talking as if we're in 2020 or 2022. So very unfair accusations being made by Parliament itself. And I found that extraordinary because every year, the special prosecutor has been required to go and defend how they use the previous budget and defend the request for new budget. And they did that this year. In this year's engagement, some of the parliamentarians themselves noted that, oh, your budget has been slashed. They've taken some, well, you need that money. Those were their own comments. And yet, all of a sudden, because somebody affiliated to them in some way appears to have gone through some difficulty, something which all ordinary citizens go through, they suddenly say scrap the office. Somehow the logic didn't seem to connect.
Somebody affiliated to them has gone through some difficulties? Who are you talking about?
Well, on the floor, these were the words of Honorable Pong Nkrumah, that we've been raising this issue that state security agencies have been weaponized against us, and you've ignored us. Not that it affects you or somebody close to you, you are now listening. Since you have the super majority, you bring the issue. I think it was between him and Honorable Jinapor who raised those issues, which showed you the trajectory they were taking.
But should we also not be also, because he said they've been raising some issues. This week, one of the people who raised this issue was the speaker, was actually the one who sat in the seat when the act was passed, who was now suggesting ways through which we can even outlaw the office or repeal the act, among others. Does that not also mandate us to pause, take a second look at what the problem is that they have an issue with and correct it, so that somebody in the future will not take advantage of that loophole and get rid of the office of special prosecutor easily?
Well, there are no secrets here. I mean, sometimes we behave like ostriches. Listen, um, first of all, this office and the law, Act 959, was crafted to hold accountable politically exposed persons. At the time, the sentiments of Ghanaians by and large were that, listen, we don't see that actions are being taken on the high level people. It's a small fry who are being arrested, incarcerated, and we are pretending that we are actually fighting corruption. The politicians of the day had no option in the discussions, and the Hansard is there, including the speaker himself. The current speaker was one of those who spoke brilliantly in support of this. In fact, you should go and read it. I'm sure he would have cringed if somebody read to him what he said then and what he's saying now. Subsequently, so there's no doubt about it. If you look at other jurisdictions, this is about learning about best practice. Ghana is not an island unto itself. Go look at all other jurisdictions. How have they solved this? You need an independent office that is not associated, affiliated with the political class, and therefore can be objective, can be neutral in the assessment, drawing the conclusions, investigating, prosecuting, and if necessary, having the sanctions brought upon persons who are culpable. That's not to be argued. That's international best practice. Now, if they talk about state institutions being weaponized, I think that that's an important thing. For example, the issue of the demand of bringing land or other sureties. And in some cases, it's clearly that this is way above what other citizens may have, or in terms of the weight of the matter before the security agency, this may be something that is an extreme request. Therefore, if Parliament has known this for some time, this is something we should have debated, discussed, drawn a conclusion, and together with the judicial system come to a conclusion that the level of sureties or guarantees that are required under these circumstances is A and not B. So that is a relevant discussion to have. Now, the third one you raise of past speakers, certainly trying to find ways because it's unconstitutional. We've known that all the time. It was an interim measure with the view that ultimately the best solution was to ground this in the Constitution. Indeed, many of us in our recommendations to the CRC have pointed that out already. So I'm quite sure that in their documentation, the clear recommendation that this is an office that ought to be independently established within the framework of the Constitution is there. So it's not new news that we took advantage of what could be done at the time. And I still commend His Excellency Nadu Akufo-Addo for taking that bold step to give us what you call a pragmatic solution within the legal framework of the country. And mind you, even under the MPP, somebody went to the Supreme Court for interpretation. So what Noah is doing is not new, except that, yes, citizens have their rights. So let's allow him to also go. It's been tested before, and the Supreme Court would allow the OSP to continue doing its work. Look, what is important is what is the public good, what is the private gain or interest, and I think we should elevate the public good always above private interest and gain.
But is there a need to strengthen the office for you?
Oh yes, I've heard is it abolish or remove the occupant? If you are doing a multiple choice question, I'll say none of the above. Strengthen the office. I think Kissi Agyebeng has performed above average. He's done very well, considering that he's had to be building the institution at the same time as organizing the internal systems so they can perform. And in the last 2 years, if you look, they've turned the situation around. It's not where we started. Don't forget, they only got a building worth calling a place of their own in 2022. They only got their full, and I don't know whether I should even call it full complement of staff, in the last quarter of 2023. 249 staff, November, December 2023. To all extents and purposes, that office is 2 years old. It probably started finding its feet in January 2024. 2 years of hard work, and look at what they've achieved. Somehow people are not paying attention to the detail and still crying foul. I think it's very unfair to them. It takes a lot of work to get cases ready for court. I think somebody should pay attention, compare with what has the AGs done in the same period. All the oral cases we've given AGs, how many of them are prepared for court at the moment? How many dockets are ready? How many are in court? I think we should ask much more questions before we say the OSP is slow, is not performing. What I call the rant of Parliament at the time was not supported by the facts on the ground, and that was very disappointing.
And let me conclude on the matter of the occupant of the Office of Special Prosecutor, the Special Prosecutor Kissi Agyebeng himself. In fact, people have raised questions, and I'm one of those, with his handling of the Martin Kpebu allegations that he sought to be a judge in his own cause. He was engaged in abuse of office, conflict of interest. Should those questions not be raised and addressed?
Well, let me tell you what. I and Martin, we agree on everything else except this one issue where I've found that my position is that his allegations are just populist. You can't ask citizens to go to the airport and Article 1, Article 35, and go and stop somebody. Investigations were not done. He's not been charged. He's just a suspect. He's still innocent until proven guilty. And you want to do what? You'll be breaching the law yourself. That whole narrative, I think, is neither here nor there. So I don't understand what the objective is in terms of promoting the public good. As to I respect your view, but I fully disagree. Many other units, departments, take the US that we model. When any of the police departments, state security, etc., are accused of something, they start by an internal investigation. Standard practice. A citizen has raised an issue against a particular department, police or otherwise. What they do first is they will do an internal investigation and tell you their position. And then the citizen may decide to go to court if they are not satisfied with the conclusion and the remedies. This is not new, and I don't know why we don't like to do comparisons to draw the right conclusions. So my view, any responsible institution of state ought to first do is internal investigation. Say, are the accusations or allegations, do they have merit? Are they legitimate? If they are, what actions do we do or take to remedy it? And then beyond that, other things can happen. All that is required is that the persons involved recuse themselves. They are not directly involved in the internal investigation, so to speak. So there's no conflict of interest here. Mr. Kissi Agyebeng himself was not involved. I don't think he was seeking to exert. I think he's a fine gentleman. I don't see what the hue and cry is about. I think in terms of having somebody who would ensure that the rest of us stand on our toes, we understand that if we do the wrong thing, he's not going to budge, and he's going to investigate. And if you're culpable, I think he's done what we wanted when we were crafting Act 959.
Anyway, pardon me for this, but if they were conducting an internal investigation, what was going to be the objective of that investigation? Take note that Kissi Agyebeng has stronger protection than the Attorney General. In fact, can be touched by the president. If you want him removed, you have to go through a whole process that is the same as that of a Court of Appeal judge, among others. So what would his subordinates holding an internal investigation, what would be the objective of that? What would they achieve with it? Can they issue any penary measures, or what can they do?
I think that begets the question. The point of it is, what is process? What is procedure? Let's not bend process or procedure because it has to do with a particular individual, a particular level of authority. The right thing for any responsible institution that has accusations or allegations against it is to first examine it. So you don't begin to say what would have been the result. That's not how you approach it. Systems must always work. Now, when you have persons of integrity, even subordinates can make recommendations, and persons of integrity will take it up because it will become a matter of public record. So rather than second guess the outcome, The thing is to allow the outcome to go through. Let's hear whether it was subordinates or peers, what recommendations they made, and see whether they were not implemented or not. What is the conclusion of the matter? What are the recommendations? And anybody who is very, patriotic, conscious of ethics and integrity, and ethics is one of the things that those of us in the anti-corruption space are saying that for the next 5 years, we've got to promote. So we are now saying the National Ethics and Anti-Corruption Action Plan. If you have ethical values, you know what is right. You do what is right, and you want to influence those around you to do what is right. It doesn't matter whether it's your subordinate. And I'm somebody who believes strongly in that. It doesn't matter whether it's my subordinate or my peer. If something I'm not doing right, I hear you, I apologize, I do what is right, I move on. So let's not begin to suggest that that's not possible.
Mr. SENANU, thank you. Thank you as always.
And thank you for having me. Delight talking and engaging with you.
His co-chair, Citizens Movement Against Corruption. Always a pleasure talking to him. And one of the things I like about him is consistency on his stance. And that's why I like talking to you. When he takes this stance, except something else changed, there's new information, he will admit it. He mostly will stick to that stance, no matter the kind of questions he asks him. And that consistency, I really do admire. A few things to do before we take that quick break. Nancy, start.
The luckiest is back again, bigger and better, with chances to change your life. Let me show you 2 easy ways to get in the game. First, grab your phone now, and dial star 712 hash. Star 712 hash. Choose option 1 to buy a ticket for yourself, or option 2 to buy for someone else. You want the system to generate a lucky ticket for you? Go with option 1 again. Prefer to choose your own ticket number. That's option 2. Confirm your payment with Momo, and then you are in. Now, the online way. Head to the luckiest Africa